All right, guys. So we'll try this again. I got my laptop set up and everything else behind me. So we're gonna try this. Not exactly sure who's in here, so whoever's in here, say hello. I just got my laptop set, so we'll have a conversation. So, how's it going, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good 2022 so far. What's going on, Eagle Run? So, did you check out my last video I just uploaded? Oh. I just got my laptop going, so I'm trying to figure out how all this works on the laptop. So it's just kind of a trial run. I've been editing and doing everything off my phone before all this, so I just got my laptop set up. Well, thank you for following me, buddy. I do appreciate that. Trying to figure out how I can. I do appreciate that. Is my audio good and connection good, or is it kind of shit? Like, I'd rather you be honest. Keep cutting off the top of my head. Yeah, I finally just got a laptop. How's it going, John? So, all right, I appreciate that, Eagle Run. So, John, when you and I were talking earlier about your weights, how your rifle is jumping is it jumping to the left or is it jumping to the right? Which direction is it jumping? But you would put your weights right on you would put the same amount of weights on both sides. So you wouldn't jump like left and right with only weights on the left or only on the right. So that's kind of true to pull too. But you wouldn't put your weights on the left or the right, or not just on the left or just on the right. Like you would put them on for whatever set. Like one set would be one would if sorry, I'm a little tongue twisted. So like if you have a set which comes with two, you would have one on the right, one on the left, and then you would do that for however many sets you ordered. So my rifle has 3 sets on it. My rifle has 3 sets on it. So from there, I would add more. And then I also have weights on the inside of my handrail on the front, which help just keep it balanced. Because that's the last thing you want is an unbalanced rifle. But that's truly why I balance it. I balance for recoil mitigation. If that makes sense. Yeah, so my subscriber challenge is a 250 subscriber challenge. And I've got a 3D printed Baby Yoda, and it's a 5-shot group. And 5-shot group at 100 yards, tightest group wins a 3D printed Baby Yoda. So yeah, get in there, check it out, buddy. I'd appreciate it. The more people I can get to participate in it, the better off I'll be. Sorry, guys. CRS texted me. But I don't know. I am kind of new to all this stuff. But so, yeah, Eagle Run. Yeah, so so I am a master armor. So what kind of primer strikes are you having? What's going on, Mike? Are you having light primer strikes, or are you blowing out primers? What's going on with it? Eagle, I might be able to help you. 1 second, guys. I'm gonna kill one of these lights, see if it makes it better. Let's see. Is that lighting better or is it worse? I don't know. Seems like the other one was way too bright, and without it, it's not bright enough. So I don't know. So is your barrel tightened down to specs, and is your bolt carrier actually seating right in your barrel? That seems to be a pretty common issue here lately with a lot of the ballistics advantage bolt carrier groups. So that could be part of it. Make sure that your lugs are locking up right how they're supposed to. But you wouldn't have head spacing issues if you're getting a live round in there and they're going off some. It sounds like you either got some tooling burrs on the inside of your bolt carrier group from your ballistics advantage bolt carrier group, or you have a bent firing pin. That would work, John. Sandbags on your tripod, but laying prone and having the rifle all the way up to your shoulder would help too. If I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't know how you shoot, so I can't really answer that. How do you check lockup? So the way I check lockup is I will. It's a lot easier if you just have a bare barrel and you check your lockup with your bolt carrier group to make sure your feed ramps are cut right. But what his sounds like, Eagle Run, what yours sounds like is you have a tooling burr on the inside of your bolt carrier group that is causing issues, if I had to guess. And the spring is bad on the inside of your bolt carrier group. Yeah, so you check your lockup with the bolt face, yes, but I'm saying in the middle of your bolt carrier group where your firing pin is, I bet you have a tooling burr on the inside of it. Mike has some good questions. Can you still close your bolt with 2 pieces of tape on the back of your casing? Because if you can, that might be spacer issues, right, Mike? Or am I mistaken? It sounds like you're still out of spec or out of tolerance. Are you sure your barrel nuts tightened down correctly? Or to the proper specs? But it's kind of hard to say. I run a Ballistics Advantage barrel on my gas 308 that I initially started shooting PRS with. That's where I started with Ballistics Advantage, was right there. I would retort the barrel and make sure. So I tighten my barrels down to between 45 and 55 on my AR-10s and about 35 pounds on my AR-15s. But you want to make sure the barrel is tight, obviously. Like some barrels require a little more. Some barrels require a little bit less. So you could have some spacing issues, and they sell little spacer rings. I don't think I have any here to show you, but they look like little shims, and they'll slide over the top of your barrel, and it'll allow you to get a good draw on the barrel and take up some of that extra space that could be in there causing slack. I would start with checking my barrel nut and make sure it's tightened. Are you getting a full cycle whenever it does choose to cycle? And have you tried another type of ammunition? Because it could be the ammunition manufacturer, not so much your firearm. Because right now, the way components are, I've been seeing some manufacturers, I'm not going to mention their names, but they've been using 7.62 by 51 primers, and that's been kind of causing some issues with 6.5s here lately. What's going on, Alex? So I would start with making sure that my barrel was tightened up. Have you tried a different bolt carrier group? Not necessarily one that you have, but one that a buddy has. That's the one thing with the AR-10s that are pretty well interchangeable, brand-wise, is your bolt carrier groups. That's the one thing that's really interchangeable. So that might be something you could try. But it's hard to say without physically having the rifle. It's hard to say. So what I do, let me find it real quick. I'll show you what I've got for AR-10 barrels. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to find a tool to show this young man. I have no idea where I put it, but Wheeler makes a tool for AR-10s. I've got to find it. I've got it here somewhere. So give me just a second, and I will show you it. I have no idea where I put this thing. Oh, I wish I did. That's barrel block. But yeah, Wheeler does a tool for it. If I can find it. So action rods, what I use for AR-10, and I'm probably gonna catch some serious shit for this, but I don't use one. That's just my opinion, and that's what I do. This isn't advice, but that's what I do. I've been doing this for a long time. So that's just me. Well, that's good, Alex. I'm glad you can go back to shooting, but yeah, you got to watch out for anybody around you. But it's if I can find it, I will show you it. So bear with me just a second. I will find this thing. I've said it somewhere. But the problem is, I have no idea where the fuck I put it. It's like an upper receiver block, but you can flip it over and do AR-10s with it. Maybe it's in the locker over here. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm trying to find a tool for him. will be right back, guys. Let me find this tool. Oh, shit. Here it is. This is what it is. This tool right here. It's part of their Delta series. AR upper pick rail vice ball. It's what I use on AR-10s. Right here. You can use it on AR-15s and AR-10s. So, I did find it. That's what it is. There's nothing to it. It's not very intricate. It's just an aluminum block. It's got pins. And then, so it says AR-15 on the front, AR-10 front this way. So you can do it both ways. It's what I use for my AR-10 and AR-15s. If you have a Cabela's or a Bass Pro close to you, you can pick them up there. And then if you want a 30 cal or AR-10 reaction rod, Real Avid sells them now, and so does Geisley. But I don't use one personally. But I've been doing this for a very long time. So for me, it's not really worth it, I guess. So, but I hope every single one of you guys tune in and participate in the 100-yard group challenge. I do hope so. That would be super radical, honestly. The more, the merrier. And I'm thinking about adding a rule into it. I don't know how many of you guys have children or not, but I'm thinking about adding in there, if your child wants to enter into it, the group that I have, they would be eligible for the group. I have not 3D printed any frames yet. So those were actually 3D printed for me by a very good guy. Really good friend of mine 3D printed those for me. And he also 3D printed my case feeder on my Hornady Progressive. John, I think I've done a lot worse stuff in life that's fucked up my brain. I work with all sorts of harsh chemicals and cleaners and stuff like that at work, so I don't know. And I used to weld and be a machinist before I got my Master Armors certificates. So I'm sorry, but it's either smoke cigarettes or vape, and I refuse to smoke cigarettes in my house. So I will vape in my house, but I won't smoke cigarettes in my house. So, just got a 3D printer a week ago. I have a Glock 19 printing right now. It'll be done in 10 hours. Hell yeah, that's dope. You'll have to let me know how it goes. There's a channel on here. I can't remember what the guy's name is or his handle, but he 3D prints a bunch of stuff. But Femboy Firearms. He 3D prints a bunch of stuff and builds AR-15s and Glock 19s on them. But I'm not knocking him for what he does. But hey, you do you, boo boo. So, but yeah. So I am glad to see the channel growing the way it has. I do appreciate that from each and every single one of you. If y'all tell your friends and tell their friends to subscribe, that would be super radical too. Yeah, YouTube's kind of weird. So, um, but there's all sorts of ways to get around it all. Like you just have to be, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't quite figured out the whole algorithm either. CRS has been helping me a lot. I mean, y'all see where all of you came from, which was from his channel. So that was super cool of him. But I don't disagree, John, that vaping is not good for me, but it's one or the other. And we got hit by tornadoes again today. One actually touched down about 100 feet from where I was standing. And I watched it rip the side of a building off of a house, or a wall off the side of a building. So, yeah. It's been an interesting day. Real interesting day. But I don't know. Is the laptop better for me to do live streams on than my cell phone was? Just curious question there, guys. Yeah, I agree, John. What do I do for a living now? So I'm a master armor and I also work a trade. So, but most of my income truly comes from master armoring and shooting matches. That's where the primarily my income comes from, is shooting matches and being a master armor. I kind of do trade stuff on the side, but for the most part, that's where it comes from. But kind of is what it is. I'm in a fortunate situation, and I wish more people were in that situation. But it's kind of one of those things, luck of the draw, I guess, or be good at it, one or the other. So yeah, I kind of gunsmith for hire kind of thing. Yeah. Um, there's some shops around me that I do work for. Um, I do a lot of it at their shops or at the machine shop or something like that. So it's kind of one of those things. I'm a gunsmith for hire, kind of, sort of, I guess is the best way to put it. Kind of freelance. So the last tornado kind of fucked up a lot of shit. So, but I shoot 41 matches a year. So working a 9 to 5 is not the easiest, if that makes sense. Ooh, buddy, if I had to choose between the three, I'm very partial to my Creedmoor. My Creedmoor is my baby. I mean, have you looked at it? I don't know. I'm still curious on the 6 arc. I want to build a 6mm arc in a bolt gun, but I don't know. I am really partial to my Creedmoor because of ammo availability in a normal world, but the arc's got some serious potential. But if I was going to pick a 6mm cartridge to be my one all be all, it'd be the 6GT. No question. If it was something that I had to hand load for, it would be the 6GT. I like Alex's answer though, all of them. So that is a very solid answer. But if it was just one 6mm, 6GT, no doubt. It's a good cartridge. It's a throat burner, but it's a good cartridge. Building AR-15 lowers for people. That is the most common job I see, without a question of a doubt. Put a lower together for me. Put a lower together for me. I can put a lower together in about 10 minutes now without looking. So that's really probably the most common. One of the most uncommon things, but it's something that I truly, truly enjoy, is getting old vintage firearms and restoring them. That's the one thing that I truly love to do, is restore old stuff. I've restored a 1920s lever action 250 Savage. I've restored a few M1 Grands. And then I've got a 1918 12 gauge shotgun I've been working on here recently. Recutting out. I'm actually cutting out the new buttstock and forward grip, the pump grip. I'm actually cutting it out of walnut. I'm hand cutting it and hand turning it in a lathe. I mean, people are lazy. So if they can pay somebody $50 to put something together where they don't have to fool with it, that's what they're going to do. It's just nature of the beast. When I was in college, I ran my own lawn care and landscape business. You know how many people refuse to mow their lawn when they own lawnmowers? A lot. So I can tell you this. People are lazy and they would rather pay somebody to do something for them than they would rather do it themselves. It's just kind of one of those things. It's the nature of the beast. Why would I do it when I can pay him to do it? Just kind of one of those things. So, yeah, lowers are the easiest part. The one thing I hate putting together is uppers. I hate putting upper receivers together. That little spring, ugh, man, that thing fight all the time. It depends. So if somebody's gonna buy a good trigger, yeah, I'll throw a good trigger in it. But if somebody's just only got a lowers part kit that has a mil-spec trigger in it, they're gonna get a mil-spec trigger. Like, honestly. Some people, I'll like, if it's somebody that's been in the shop a lot or has come to see me to do a lot of work, they might have the same structure of a mil-spec trigger, but I'll upgrade the springs and put a lighter trigger in there for them. I make my own triggers. I make my own rifle weights. I can cut about anything out of a piece of metal. So, Alex, you got to get those out of the shed, man. You got to restore them. Restore them, dude. I've got a Civil War musket right now that it was like 7 generations ago in my family's musket from the Civil War. And I've actually got it and I'm starting to break the rust out of it and recut parts and everything for it. So it'll be super cool whenever it's done. Yeah, you can make mil-spec triggers actually really nice if you know what you're doing, but you can also kind of fuck them up a little bit. It's taken me a few to fuck them up to realize how to do them right. So it's just kind of one of those things. Um, I don't know. It is what it is. But I play with a lot of stuff, so I've got some friend shops whose SOT 6s and SOT 7s. So I get to play with a lot of fun stuff. But Alex, are those old shotguns? Are they old carriage guns or what are they? Do you know? An old carriage gun will have like a 13.5-inch barrel on it. It'll be the stock will be just as long as the barrel is on the old carriage guns. Those generally were made they were made in a 8 or a 10 or a 14 gauge generally. You'll find a few that are made in like a 6 gauge and a 4 gauge with a big bell on the front of it. It'll curve out like this towards you. So, have I built a P80 yet? Those have consumed me the last few months. So fun to put. So I have not built a single Polymer 80 lower at all. I've cut my own lowers from like 80% arms and stuff like that. But as far as just messing with the Polymer 80 stuff, no. I've cut lowers out of nothing but aluminum blocks. I've done that and serialized them and sold them in the shop for like cancer giveaways. Like we'll sell raffle tickets and then we'll sell them that way. I'll serialize them. So there's not a big difference in the 12 gauge and the 10 gauge. So it very well could be 10 gauge. You should check them out. Send me some pictures of them if you want to. That seems really cool. Hell, maybe we can get you to come over and we'll restore one of them. It takes me a couple days to restore them. Depending on how pitted they are on the inside. If they're not super pitted on the inside, just takes a couple days to restore them and lead lap the barrels. Just kind of, it's not bad to do, honestly. But we can kind of have a conversation about anything, guys. That's kind of the rules with it, as long as it's not religious or political. We can have conversations about anything. So I'm up for any type of questions, Eagle Run. And you're not blowing me up. I'm just reading the comments as they pop up here. Now, obviously, when it gets bigger, I'll end up having a moderator, but that's neither here nor there. So my favorite bolt carrier group is probably Little Gun Machine. Yeah, I love their stuff. I've had BCM bolt carrier groups. I've had Colt bolt carrier groups. I've had Anderson bolt carrier groups, Palmettos, Geisleys, so on and so forth, Arrows. And my favorite one has been a little machine or little gun machine. I'm not really exactly sure how their name goes, but they make really nice stuff. I inherited a 1886 4570 octagon barrel Winchester from my grandfather. Needs a little love. Man, get that thing, give it some love, DB. Like, you'll like it. I like those old 4570s. I've been really dabbling with the idea of the 4570 auto and an AR-10. I've been dabbling in that idea, but I don't know. I'm kind of little over gas rifles at the moment. I got really burned out on them last year. So that's why I run a bolt carrier or a bolt action 99% of the time. But the thumbnail on my last video that I just uploaded today is actually my gas PRS rifle. So that is set up for PRS. It's got a 21.5-inch barrel on it and 308. The Bagaras. If I was going to build my 9-year-old at 22, it would be a Bagara. So you got the B14 series and I think the B22 series. I'm not exactly sure. There's like 2 or 3 series of the Bagaras. The B14 is going to run you about $1,000, and then they have one that's a little bit lower, and I want to say it's like 700. And then there's one below that that's like 500. If I was going to build my 9-year-old at 22, that's what I would do. Or if you're proficient at putting an action in a chassis, you can get the B14 action and chassis and everything, or the Bagara B14 action barrel magazine, everything. Then hop on over to Modular Driven Technologies and pick you up a ESS chassis and throw it inside there, and you'll be good to go. So, Mike, I have never shot a Tikka. I've messed with their actions a little bit, but I've never shot a Tikka. So I can't suggest Tikka because I've never shot them. So yeah, I would do the Bagara B14. It's in a Remington 700 short action. So finding a chassis for it is super easy. I've ran MDT chassis. I've ran Area 419 chassis, the Magpul Precision chassis, and probably my favorite is the MDTs. I really like my Area 419 chassis on my 6.5, but I really like the MDT stuff, or even the MPA stuff. That's really good stuff too. I shoot Tikka T3X suggestions on replacement stock or chassis. Dude, there's so many options. So that's kind of the conversation we were just having, buddy. And I really like MDT chassis. I really do. It's something I thoroughly enjoy. However, you've got so many good ones. Like you have Foundation, you have MPA, Wooks. There's so many. Voodoo. There's so many chassis. So you need it somewhat plug and play. So that's why I suggest the MDTs. They are pretty well plug and play with their chassis, especially on the Remington 700s. And their customer service, man, is some of the best I've ever seen for a chassis company. Now, just like Alex said, they're not cheap. I mean, you're talking just for the bare chassis without the buttstock is going to run you about $500, and the buttstock is going to run you another $200 to $300, depending on if you get a side folder or not. So by the time it's all said and done, you're going to be in that rifle over $1,500 to $2,000. So it's kind of one of those things like you get what you pay for with it. But the MDT customer service, even when I have issues with my stuff that I've got from MDT, I literally message them on Facebook, and within an hour, they reply. And they're so helpful. They're so good at what they do. So that's one of my things with MDT. I've got some really good friends that work over at Foundation. So like Foundation, it's pretty good too. Those guys, my buddies that I have over there, I just text them directly. I'm like, yo, uh, I've never shot a surgeon action, but I have some defiance actions and some bighorn actions that I've got on other rifles and just random actions sitting around. Yeah, Alex, that Psych bipod that they make is hella expensive, but it's hella nice. I mean, they've got one on there. I want to say it's a little over a grand, but they make some stellar stuff. They're actually the weights that I added to my rifle is the MDT weights because per volume of the size of the weight, it's the best weight or the best apples for oranges on weights. So, and guys, I do want to apologize if I randomly disappear. It's because my power went out and it's starting to storm crazy here. So if I randomly disappear and it says the live stream ended, that's why. So I want to give everybody a heads up. That way, if like I'm in the middle of a sentence and it goes, that's why. So, but I do appreciate all you guys. It's super humbling to know that you guys are interested in the stuff that I have to talk about. And I just hope we can keep growing this. Let's make this channel the next best thing. And while we're doing it, we're just going to keep learning. I'm learning every day with YouTube. I hope my videos are getting better. I do appreciate all you guys being active over here on this. So, but how many of you guys have snow at home right now? I'm curious because it should be snowing here in Kentucky by now, and it's not. We haven't had any snow yet. So, I don't know. It's been weird. Hell yeah, dude. I will go over and I will subscribe to your channel. I'll do a subscribe for a subscribe since you're subscribed to me. I'll go over and subscribe to you. So, yeah. So, whenever I get done here, I'll go back into the live chat and I'll go subscribe to your channel. Really good friend of mine just texted me that she's a circuit with me. So, how many? I'm in no snow in Texas. That's like 21 degrees. Was 70 this morning. Oh man, 21 degrees in Texas. Y'all might get some snow and some ice. I know what happened last time. Y'all got a little bit of ice on the road. That was crazy. I've never seen such craziness in my life. Nice. I'm glad to see somebody's got some snow because we have none here. I kind of miss the snow. I grew up in Wisconsin. And, well, I grew up in Florida and then moved to Wisconsin. That's kind of how CRS and I kind of met, was up there. And I miss the snow. I really do. So that's kind of one of those things. I do miss it. I wish it would snow some more, but we don't get any. But yeah, I'm super humbled by everything here, guys. I've got some really good friends that live down in Texas too, Eagle Run. They live out near Bernie. Hey, they're over by you, Eagle Run. My buddies that live over there. Well, kind of. I don't think Bernie's that close to Dallas Fort Worth. I'm not sure. I've been considering moving to Bernie myself. So, I don't know. A budget spotting scope. So, Mike, when you talk about budget, what's your budget? Like budgets are relative to the person that wants to spend the money. So when you talk budget, I'm curious about that. Because for one person, a budget could be 500. For another person, a budget could be $5,000. So shoot me a number, and I can try to point you in the right direction. How about that? Y'all already know who I'm very partial to, but it might shock you on the it might shock you who I'd recommend. Because I don't think anybody sees this one coming. Well, I don't know if Athlon makes a spotting scope at around 500, but Athlon, Vortex, even the Bass Pro brands aren't bad. I've never messed with the I haven't messed with the Athlon much, but I've messed with a lot of brands like some from Swarovski all the way down to Burris, but I haven't messed with Athlon yet. But I've heard some very good things about the Athlon. I've been trying to get them to send me one or try to win one at a match, but that's been a little harder than anything else. So, yeah, guys. The Athlons are nice. They've got a new technology on their lens now, so which is super rad. But if you can't find an Athlon, my next best thing is going to be a Vortex. I mean, I'm kind of partial to Vortex. You cannot beat that warranty of Vortex. I mean, truly, you can't. It's one of the best warranties in the business. I literally trashed my optic, and it's a $2,500 optic, and Vortex sent me a brand new one. So, kind of get what you pay for with them. That VIP warranty is a true VIP warranty, and so I'm really partial to it. But yeah, I pretty much have Vortex on everything but two rifles. I have two rifles that are in MOA, and they have Ruytons on them, and that's for a very specific. Um, those are very. Those are designated for very specific things, and that's why they're in MOA. It's the only two scopes I own that are in MOA. But everything else I have is in Mills. All I shoot is Mills and MRAD. And we'll talk a little bit about that. If you guys want, let me know down there in the comments. We'll talk about that a little bit of why I shoot in MRAD and Mills and how I figure out my dope on MRAD and Mills. A very simple way. So you guys let me know over there. And we'll talk about it. Yeah. Vortex makes some stellar stuff, man. I mean, so the way I figure out my dope at 1,000 yards and in with a standard load that's going. So your standard factory ammo, generally speaking, from your 6.5s all the way down to like your 308s and even your 6mm Creedmoors, they're all running relatively close to 2,900 feet per second or less. So in mils, out to 1,000 yards, you find out your area and subtract 2. So at 1,000 yards on the 6.5 Creedmoor is 8.1. But if I dial down to 8 and hold center mass, I'm still going to make impact on my elevation. My windage might be different, but my elevation will still be there on a standard 1 MOA target or 1 12 by 14 target. So that's how that works. Now, where it starts to get a little wonky is out past 1,000. I want to say the Creed. I'd have to look. The Creedmoor at 1,000 or at 1,100. I want to say is 10.5 mils. I'd have to look to verify that to be for sure. But that's how you do it. And that's why I run mils. It's so easy to figure out your dope at 1,000 and less in mils. And especially if you know the distance, it's super easy. So 400 yards is the way the 6.5 falls, because no matter when your projectile leaves the barrel, it begins to fall. So when you dial up, you're adjusting the angle of your rifle, and that slows down the fall of it. Because no matter what, gravity is still gravity. And if I drop 140 grain from right here or fire 140 grain from right here to 1,000 yards, they're going to hit at the exact same time. You cannot beat gravity. So that's how it works. And then MOA, it's good. I'm not going to knock anybody that runs an MOA, but it's antiquated data that you're using. And it's kind of why I mentioned in my video that I just posted today of the wrong equipment, and why I kind of talked a little bit about MOA and mils, is because if your club is shooting in mils and you're running MOA, unless you know it, then you're going to be at a disadvantage over everybody. And so DB, MRAD, and mils are almost identical in your dials, just so you're aware. There's a little bit of variance, but not enough to make a huge, huge difference. So if you plan on competing in long range matches, I definitely suggest mils. Now, if you're just going out punching steel, run whatever you want. But if you're going to go out and compete, especially in matches where you can share data with each other, then mils and MRAD is where it's at. So mils is measured in 2-inch increments, and MRAD is measured in inch increments. So that's where it gets a little bit wonky. I believe that's right. I don't know for sure, but I want to say mils is measured in like 1.25 to 2 inches, and MRAD is a little bit less. But your dope is still the same. On the mass still equals out the same on MRAD and mils. MOA is Best in my opinion, I'm from the USA, so inches and feet are much easier to guess. Yeah, but each click is a tenth of an inch. Yes. However, a full mil is 1 inch. And that's the same with MRAD. It's 0.1 of an inch per click, but a full mil and a full MRAD are 1 inch. I believe that's how that equals out. I would have to read my notes to know exactly. I don't know. I don't read a lot in depth about that, of the tenths and the hundredths and that stuff. I find my dope based on a ballistics app that tells me how to do it, and then I truly dial in my dope. Yeah, the mills and the MRAD and the MOA, it gets very very complicated, very quick. Hulk, smash that like button, folks, please, and thank you kindly. I do appreciate that, DDS. No, MOA is in metric. It's minutes of angle. Mils are mil radians, and same with MRAD. So my chosen long range cartridge. When you're talking long range, are you talking for matches? Or are you talking long range for extreme long range? Because I have two separate ones for it. My matches in the NRL and PRS is 6.5 Creedmoor. And the extreme long range out past a mile, I've been dabbling a little bit with the Lapua. I've been messing with one, but I'm more intrigued by the 408 Shytech or the 375 Shytech. I've shot a 416 Barrett last year. I really liked it, but I'm really considering the 475 or the 408 Shytech. That's my next move, is the extreme long range and be set up for extreme long range on my own, where I don't have to borrow a rifle or anything like that. That's my goal. So it's all good. I'll get there when I get there. So, but I do stretch my Creedmoor out to a mile just for fun. It's just kind of one of those things that I do for fun. So, no, that's not true, DDS. Anybody can do what I do. You just have to practice. I'm no different than any single one of you sitting right there that are typing away, watching this. I'm no different. The only difference is that I refuse to quit, and I'm always able to grow better. So, yeah, the Shytech is a lot of money. I don't disagree. But as long as you practice, any of you can be where I'm at. Any of you. All it takes is practice. Should I not just get my daughter a Ruger Precision for 550? If that's what you choose to get her, hey, go for it. If that's what's in your budget, do it. I'm all about, my biggest thing when it comes down to buying firearms, setting one up for somebody else, so on and so forth, is to have it one where I don't go broke. Don't go broke trying to do this stuff, guys. Like, it's taken me a very long time to get where I am with the stuff that I have and the presses I have. All this stuff didn't happen overnight. So you've got to be budget friendly. Don't go in debt trying to buy something. Like, save a little longer. So, yeah, that's kind of. I refuse to quit, but my sights refuse to sit still. It's probably the one-handed rack training that's loosening them. It could be. It could be your breathing too. Um, breathing goes a long ways. A empty lung is a better trigger. Sorry, guys, I do stutter. So when I stop and I break down things slowly, it's where I don't catch myself stuttering again. So it's not to be rude or anything like that. It's that I do stutter. So bear with me a little bit. Yeah, empty lungs help your groups stay tighter too. Um, being truly square behind your rifle, making your rifle an extension of yourself, goes a long ways. But I've had a lot of training in this stuff, so and everything else. I wish cheap supplies would come back too. I haven't been able to find Varget in over a year, and I'm about out of Varget. So I really wish some cheap supplies would come back. That would be very beneficial. So, really good friend of mine down in Alabama just messaged me. They got hit by tornadoes today too. So him and I have been checking on each other all day, make sure each of us were alive. So, carbon fiber barrels, no, I don't recommend them unless all you're doing is hunting.